You've been running your entire life, chasing success, chasing love, chasing approval, chasing the version of yourself you think you need to become before you're allowed to rest. And somewhere along the way, you convinced yourself that this chase is necessary, that if you stop, everything will fall apart, that the only way to get what you want is to grip it tighter, push harder, force it into existence through sheer willpower. But what if I told you that the very act of chasing is what keeps your desires perpetually out of reach? What if the quantum field, the invisible fabric of reality itself, is designed to respond not to your desperation, but to your surrender? This isn't about giving up. It's about understanding a fundamental law of quantum mechanics that most people completely miss. The observer effect doesn't just mean that observation changes reality. It means that the quality of your observation, the state you're in when you focus, determines which version of reality collapses into your experience. And here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to hear. When you're chasing, you're observing from lack. You're broadcasting the frequency of not having. You're collapsing the timeline where your desire remains forever on the horizon, always just out of reach. Think about it. Every moment you spend chasing something, you're sending a clear signal to the field. I don't have this yet. I need this. I'm incomplete without it. And the quantum field, being the perfect mirror it is, reflects that exact state back to you. Not because it's withholding, not because you're doing something wrong, but because it's responding with absolute precision to the vibration you're emitting. The quantum field doesn't understand your words. It doesn't care about your vision boards or your affirmations. It reads energy. It reads state. It reads the coherent signature of your entire being, conscious and subconscious, mind and body, thought and feeling. And when those elements are split, when you're thinking abundance while feeling scarcity, when you're affirming success while your nervous system is braced for failure, the field receives static. White noise, a scrambled signal that produces scrambled results. So let's talk about what happens when you stop chasing. Not from exhaustion, not from defeat, but from a place of deep understanding. When you finally realize that the chase itself is the problem, something extraordinary begins to shift. The field relaxes around you. Possibilities that were hidden suddenly become visible. Doors that were locked mysteriously open. People, resources, and opportunities start flowing toward you instead of away from you. And you realize, sometimes with tears in your eyes, that it was never about trying harder. It was always about letting go. But letting go is terrifying, because we've been conditioned to believe that control equals safety, that if we're not actively managing, forcing, controlling every variable, chaos will consume us. We've learned to equate surrender with failure, rest with laziness, trust with naivety. And so we keep running, keep chasing, keep exhausting ourselves in a game we were never meant to play this way. Here's what nobody tells you about quantum mechanics. At the subatomic level, particles exist in superposition. They exist in all possible states simultaneously until an observer collapses that wave of possibility into a single reality. Your life, your experiences, your future, they're all existing in superposition right now. Every version of your life, the successful one, the struggling one, the abundant one, the scarce one, they're all there waiting in the quantum field as waves of potential. But which one collapses into your lived experience? The one you're in coherent resonance with. The one your entire being, not just your conscious mind, is tuned to. And this is where the chase becomes your greatest enemy. Because when you're chasing, you're stuck in the frequency of the struggling version. You're identifying as the person who doesn't have what they want. You're collapsing the timeline of lack over and over and over again with every desperate thought, every anxious action, every fear-driven decision. The moment you stop chasing, you create a quantum gap, a space, a pause. And in that space, something profound can happen. You can finally hear the signal beneath the noise. You can feel what's true instead of what you've been conditioned to believe. You can start to actually embody, the version of you that already has what you desire. Now, I know what you're thinking. But if I stop chasing, won't I stop making progress? Won't I just become complacent? And this is the beautiful paradox that trips everyone up. There's a massive difference between chasing and creating. There's a massive difference between desperate action and inspired action. There's a massive difference between forcing and allowing. When you're chasing, your actions are driven by fear, by the belief that you're not enough yet, by the anxiety that time is running out, by the conviction that you have to prove your worth. These actions are heavy. They're exhausting. They produce results that feel like pushing a boulder uphill. And even when you achieve something from this state, it doesn't satisfy you because you achieved it as the person who believes they're not enough. So you immediately start chasing the next thing, and the next, and the next, never arriving at the peace you're actually seeking. But when you stop chasing, when you drop into a state of coherent being, your actions transform. They become lighter, more intuitive, more aligned. You start acting not from desperation, but from inspiration. Not from lack, but from overflow. Not from proving, but from expressing. And these actions, the ones that come from a place of already being whole, carry a completely different quantum signature. They magnetize rather than repel. They attract rather than chase. They create effortlessly what force could never accomplish. Let me give you a real-world example. Think about relationships. When you're desperately seeking love, when you're chasing connection, when every interaction is loaded with the question, could this be the one? You repel the very thing you're seeking. People can feel your neediness. They can sense the energetic hooks. They unconsciously withdraw because your field is transmitting lack, not wholeness. But the moment you stop chasing love, the moment you decide you're complete as you are, the moment you genuinely enjoy your own company and your own life, you become magnetic. People are drawn to you, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you've stopped collapsing the timeline of lack and started embodying the frequency of fulfillment. The same principle applies to money, to success, to health, to every area of your life. The chase keeps you locked in the frequency of not having. The surrender, the true surrender that comes from understanding rather than defeat, opens the door to receiving. Now here's where this gets really interesting. Quantum entanglement. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. When two particles become entangled, they remain connected regardless of the distance between them. Change the state of one, and the other instantly responds, not through any known signal, not through any physical connection, but through a quantum bond that transcends space and time. You are entangled with your desires. You are entangled with the future you're meant to live. You are entangled with the version of reality that's trying to collapse into your experience. But the entanglement can't fully activate while you're in chase mode. Because chase mode creates interference. It creates resistance. It creates a kind of quantum friction that keeps the entangled states from harmonizing. When you stop chasing, you remove the interference. You allow the entanglement to do what it's designed to do. You let the quantum connection between who you are and what you desire complete itself naturally. And this is when miracles start to look like the most normal thing in the world, because you're no longer fighting reality, you're dancing with it. But stopping the chase isn't passive. It's not about sitting on your couch and waiting for the universe to deliver. It's about a fundamental shift in how you show up. It's about moving from doing to being. It's about recognizing that your state of being is the most powerful creative force you have access to. It's about understanding that you don't get what you want. You get what you are. So how do you actually make this shift? How do you stop chasing without falling into apathy? How do you surrender without giving up? This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where spiritual philosophy becomes practical quantum mechanics. First, you have to get brutally honest with yourself about what you're actually chasing. Is it money? Or is it the feeling you believe money will give you? Is it a relationship? Or is it the sense of worthiness you think someone else's love will provide? Is it success? Or is it the validation that you matter, that your life means something? Because here's the secret. You're never chasing the thing. You're chasing the state. You're chasing the feeling. You're chasing the internal experience you believe the external thing will deliver. And this is the greatest illusion of all. Because you can access that state right now, not when you achieve the thing, not when you finally arrive, but right now, in this moment, regardless of your circumstances. The feeling of abundance, you can practice it now. The feeling of being loved, you can give that to yourself now. The feeling of success, of mattering, of being enough, it's available now, not in the future, now. This is what stops the chase. Not positive thinking, not affirmations, not pretending everything is fine when it's not, but genuinely accessing the state you've been chasing, genuinely embodying the frequency, genuinely becoming the version of you that already has it. And when you do this, something remarkable happens. The external world begins to rearrange itself to match your internal state, not because you're manipulating reality, but because you've stopped sending the signal of lack. You've stopped collapsing the timeline of not having. You've started resonating with the version of reality where you already have what you need. Now I want to address something important. This isn't about bypassing your emotions. This isn't about suppressing your fear or pretending you don't want what you want. In fact, it's the opposite. Stopping the chase means getting so present with yourself that you can finally feel what's really going on beneath the surface. It means having the courage to sit with your fear, your unworthiness, your scarcity programming, without immediately jumping into action to fix it or escape it. Because here's what happens when you chase. You use the chase as a distraction, as a way to avoid feeling what you're actually feeling. You stay busy, you stay in motion, you stay focused on the external goal. Because if you stopped, if you really stopped, you'd have to face the uncomfortable truth of what's happening inside you. The fear that you're not enough, the belief that you're unworthy, the terror that if you're not constantly proving yourself, you'll be abandoned, forgotten, left behind. Stopping the chase means confronting these shadows, not to wallow in them, but to acknowledge them, to understand them, to integrate them. Because your subconscious is part of the quantum system. Your hidden beliefs are broadcasting just as loudly as your conscious thoughts. And until you bring these hidden patterns into the light, until you compassionately address the wounded parts of you that are driving the chase, you'll keep recreating the same patterns, the same struggles, the same exhausting cycles. So, stopping the chase is actually a profound act of self-awareness. It's saying, I'm willing to feel this discomfort. I'm willing to see where I've been running from myself. I'm willing to finally give myself what I've been desperately trying to get from the external world. And when you do this, when you really do this, the need to chase dissolves. Not because you don't want things anymore, but because you're no longer operating from a place of incompleteness. Let's talk about the nervous system for a moment. Because you can have all the quantum understanding in the world, but if your nervous system is dysregulated, if it's stuck in fight or flight, if it's wired for survival, you'll keep chasing. Your body will override your mind every time. Your nervous system has been shaped by your experiences, your traumas, your conditioning. And for many of us, our nervous system has learned that safety comes from control, from hypervigilance, from never letting our guard down, from constantly scanning for threats and opportunities. This is the physiological basis of the chase. When you're operating from a dysregulated nervous system, your body is literally in survival mode. And in survival mode, you can't access the higher frequencies of creation, of trust, of alignment. You're stuck in scarcity consciousness because your body is convinced that scarcity is the truth. It's not a belief you can think your way out of. It's a physiological state that needs to be addressed at the somatic level. This is why breath work matters, why movement matters, why rest matters, why nervous system regulation is not a luxury, but a fundamental requirement for quantum manifestation. When you learn to bring your nervous system into coherence, when you teach your body that it's safe to relax, safe to trust, safe to stop chasing, you create the internal conditions for the quantum field to respond to you in a completely different way. Coherence is the key word here. Heart-brain coherence. When your heart and your brain are synchronized, when they're operating in harmony, you create a powerful electromagnetic field that radiates out from your body. This field interacts with the quantum field around you. It broadcasts your state. And when your state is coherent, when you're not torn between fear and desire, between wanting and worrying, between hoping and doubting, the signal you send out is clear. And a clear signal produces clear results. So, how do you cultivate this coherence? It starts with the breath. Slow, deep, conscious breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system. It tells your body, we're safe. We can relax. We can stop running. From this place of physiological safety, you can begin to explore what it feels like to not chase, what it feels like to simply be, what it feels like to trust that you're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, becoming exactly who you're meant to become. And from this state, action becomes very different. Instead of chasing, you start responding. Responding to intuition, responding to inspiration, responding to the gentle whispers of the field guiding you toward the next step. These actions don't feel heavy, they feel light. They feel like yes instead of should. They feel like flow instead of force. And these are the actions that create quantum leaps. These are the actions that collapse reality in ways that effort never could. Before we go deeper, I want to pause here for a moment. If what you're reading is resonating with you, if you're feeling something shift inside, if you're recognizing yourself in these patterns, drop a word in the comments. Just one word that captures what you're feeling right now. Maybe it's release, maybe it's trust, maybe it's surrender. Whatever comes up, share it, because when you declare your intention, even in a single word, you're sending a signal to the field. You're making a quantum choice. You're collapsing a new possibility into form. And you're joining a community of conscious creators who are done with the chase and ready for something deeper. So go ahead, comment below. I'll be reading every single one. Now let's go even deeper into why the chase is so seductive and why breaking free from it requires understanding layers most people never consider. There's something called quantum decoherence. It's the process by which quantum systems lose their coherence and become classical, predictable, solid. In your life, decoherence happens when you collapse into old patterns, when you let the external world dictate your internal state, when you allow circumstances to convince you that you're separate from what you desire. The chase accelerates decoherence. Every time you check your bank account with anxiety, you're collapsing into the classical world of limitation. Every time you stalk someone's social media with desperation, you're solidifying separation. Every time you force an outcome from fear, you're choosing the predictable timeline over the quantum one. And here's the thing about the classical world. It's based on past data, on what's already happened, on probabilities calculated from history. It's the world of this is how it's always been, the world of limitation masquerading as realism. But the quantum world, that's where miracles live. That's where unprecedented outcomes exist. That's where you can access possibilities that have no precedent in your past. And you can only access that realm when you stop trying to force your desires through the narrow channel of what's already happened, when you stop chasing based on what you think is possible and start allowing based on what the field knows is available. Here's another concept that will blow your mind: non-locality. In quantum mechanics, particles that have interacted remain connected even when separated by vast distances. They don't communicate through space and time. They exist in a state of immediate connection that transcends physical laws. This means that you and your desire, you and your dream life, you and the person you're becoming, you're already connected. Not in some abstract metaphorical way, but in a real, quantum, non-local way. The connection already exists. You're not trying to create it through chasing. You're trying to honor it through alignment. You're trying to allow it through surrender. You're trying to activate it through coherence. And the moment you stop chasing, the moment you relax into the truth of this pre-existing connection, the non-local bond can express itself in your local reality. This is how synchronicities happen. This is how the impossible becomes inevitable. This is how you can be thinking about someone and they call you. How you can need something and it shows up unexpectedly. How you can be ready for a shift and the universe rearranges itself to meet you. But chasing disrupts non-locality. Because chasing is based on the illusion of separation, on the belief that you're here and your desire is over there and you have to bridge the gap through effort. But in the quantum field, there is no gap. There's only the illusion of one. And the more you chase, the more you reinforce that illusion. The more you make the gap real. The more you collapse the separated timeline instead of the unified one. Let me give you another example. Think about financial abundance. Most people chase money. They work harder, longer, more desperately. They hustle, grind, sacrifice. And some of them do accumulate wealth this way. But notice the quality of that wealth. It's often accompanied by stress, by health problems, by relationship struggles, by a persistent feeling of never enough. Because they chased it into existence from a frequency of lack. They built their abundance on a foundation of scarcity. And no matter how much they accumulate, the scarcity frequency remains. The fear remains. The need to chase remains. But people who stop chasing money and start embodying abundance, they access a completely different frequency. They start noticing opportunities everywhere. They make decisions from intuition rather than desperation. They invest from wisdom rather than fear. They give from overflow rather than scarcity. And money flows to them not because they're working harder, but because they've become a vibrational match to wealth. They've stopped collapsing the scarcity timeline and started living in the abundance one. And the quantum field, always responsive, always precise, delivers accordingly. This applies to health as well. You can chase health through extreme diets, punishing exercise regimens, obsessive tracking, and stress-inducing optimization. Or you can embody wellness. You can listen to your body's wisdom. You can move from joy rather than punishment. You can eat from nourishment rather than control. You can rest from reverence rather than guilt. And watch how your body responds when you stop fighting it and start honoring it. When you stop chasing health and start being healthy. Now, I want to address something crucial. The ego. Because the ego is the part of you that's most invested in the chase. The ego believes its job is to keep you safe by keeping you in control. By making sure you're always one step ahead of disaster. By convincing you that if you stop pushing, everything will fall apart. The ego doesn't understand quantum mechanics. It doesn't understand that surrender is more powerful than force. It only knows what it's learned from past experience. And for most of us, our past has taught us that we have to fight for what we want. So when you start to stop chasing, your ego is going to panic. It's going to throw every fear, every doubt, every worst-case scenario at you. It's going to tell you that you're being naive, irresponsible, lazy. It's going to make you feel guilty for resting, anxious about trusting, terrified of letting go. And this is where most people give up on surrender and go back to chasing. Because the ego's voice is loud and convincing and urgent. But here's what you need to know. The ego is not your enemy. It's a part of you that's trying to protect you based on outdated information. It doesn't need to be destroyed or transcended. It needs to be thanked, acknowledged, and gently educated. You can literally talk to your ego. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. I know you're scared, but I'm choosing to trust something bigger than fear right now. I'm choosing to operate from a different paradigm, and I need you to support me in this, not sabotage me. When you approach your ego this way, with compassion rather than combat, something softens. The internal war quiets, and you create space for a different kind of intelligence to guide you. Not the intelligence of survival, but the intelligence of thriving. Not the intelligence of the past, but the intelligence of possibility. Not the intelligence of the ego, but the intelligence of the soul. Now, I want to talk about what happens in your daily life when you actually stop chasing. Because this isn't just philosophy. This has practical, tangible effects on how you move through the world. When you stop chasing, you start noticing. You notice the beauty around you that you were too stressed to see. You noticed the opportunities that were always there but that your tunnel vision caused you to miss. You noticed the people who want to help you but who your defensive armor was pushing away. You notice your own intuition, which has been whispering guidance all along but which you couldn't hear over the noise of your chasing mind. You also start experiencing time differently. When you're chasing, time is your enemy. There's never enough of it. You're always behind, always rushing, always feeling like you're running out. But when you stop chasing, time becomes spacious. You have room to breathe, room to be present, room to actually enjoy your life instead of constantly deferring your happiness until you finally achieve the next goal. This shift in your relationship with time is itself a quantum phenomenon, because time at the quantum level is not linear. It's not a river you're being swept along by. It's a field of possibilities you're navigating through, and the frequency you hold determines which possibilities you collapse into experience. When you're chasing, you're stuck in linear time, in the belief that you have to do A, then B, then C, before you can get to D. But when you stop chasing, you access quantum time, where D can happen before A, where you can leap timelines, where you can experience quantum jumps that defy the logical progression your ego insists is necessary. This is how people have breakthrough moments, sudden healings, unexpected windfalls, serendipitous meetings, not because they worked harder or got luckier, but because they stopped reinforcing linear causality and allowed quantum possibility. Now, I want to talk about timing, because one of the hardest parts of stopping the chase is trusting divine timing. We live in a culture that worships speed, that celebrates the grind, that makes you feel like you're falling behind if you're not constantly hustling, constantly achieving, constantly moving forward. But quantum reality operates on a different timeline. It operates on the principle of perfect unfolding, and perfect unfolding can't be rushed. When you stop chasing, you're not giving up on your desires. You're surrendering your attachment to the timeline. You're releasing your demand that things happen according to your schedule. You're trusting that there's an intelligence far greater than your ego orchestrating events in ways you can't see yet. And this trust, this deep trust, is what allows the quantum field to work its magic. Think about it like this. When you're chasing, you're operating from your limited perspective. You can only see a few moves ahead. You're making decisions based on incomplete information, on fear, on the belief that you have to make it happen. But when you stop chasing, when you surrender to the flow, you allow a much larger intelligence to guide you. You allow synchronicity to work. You allow the field to connect dots you didn't even know existed. You allow yourself to be led to opportunities, people, and experiences that your chasing would have caused you to miss entirely. This doesn't mean you become passive. It means you become responsive. It means you stay present. It means you keep your antenna tuned to inspiration rather than desperation. It means you take action when it feels aligned, not when it feels forced. And you trust that if something isn't happening yet, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because the field is still arranging the pieces. It's because you're still becoming the version of you who's ready to receive it. It's because the timing isn't right yet, and forcing it would actually create more problems than it solves. Let me share something vulnerable with you. There have been times in my own life when I've chased so hard I've made myself sick, physically sick, emotionally depleted, spiritually disconnected. I convinced myself that if I just tried harder, if I just figured out the right strategy, if I just pushed through one more time, everything would finally click into place. And you know what happened? The harder I chased, the further away my goals seemed to get. Doors closed, opportunities vanished, relationships fell apart, and I couldn't understand why. I was doing everything right, wasn't I? It wasn't until I hit a wall so hard I had no choice but to stop that I finally understood. I wasn't being blocked. I was blocking myself. My chasing was the interference. My desperation was the static. My inability to trust was keeping me locked in the very frequency I was trying to escape. And the moment I stopped, the moment I genuinely let go and said, "Okay, I trust," I don't know how this is going to work out, but I'm going to stop forcing it and start being present with where I am. Everything changed. Not overnight, but gradually, naturally, effortlessly. The very things I'd been chasing started showing up. Not because I'd finally earned them, but because I'd finally stopped repelling them. This is the paradox at the heart of quantum manifestation. You have to want it, but not need it. You have to desire it, but not desperately. You have to hold the vision, but release the attachment. It's a razor's edge, a delicate balance, but it's the only way the quantum field can deliver to you. Because the field responds to wholeness, not lack, to trust, not fear, to being, not needing. So here's my invitation to you. Just for today, stop chasing. Stop trying to force something to happen. Stop checking your email every 5 minutes to see if the opportunity arrived. Stop obsessing over the person who hasn't texted you back. Stop refreshing your bank account hoping the money magically appeared. Just stop, take a breath, and ask yourself, who would I be if I already had what I'm chasing? How would I feel? How would I move through the world? What would I be available to notice? And then, just for today, practice being that person. Not because you're pretending, not because you're bypassing reality, but because you're recognizing that this version of you already exists in the quantum field. And by embodying it now, you're collapsing that timeline into your lived experience. You're becoming the tuning fork that resonates with the reality you desire. You're stopping the chase and starting the magnetism. Because here's the final truth I want to leave you with. The quantum field has been waiting for you to stop running. It's been trying to give you what you want all along. But it can't deliver to someone who's constantly moving away. It can't land in a system that's vibrating in fear and lack. It needs you to be still, to be present, to be ready. And readiness doesn't come from achieving, it comes from surrendering the need to achieve. It comes from realizing you're already worthy, already enough, already the person you've been trying to become. So stop chasing, not because you're giving up, but because you're finally ready to receive. And watch as reality collapses around you in ways you never could have chased into existence. This is the quantum truth. This is the secret that's been hiding in plain sight. This is what happens when you finally stop running and start being. The universe doesn't reward the chase, it rewards the alignment. And alignment only happens when you're still enough to feel it, brave enough to trust it, and wise enough to embody it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for considering a different way. Thank you for being willing to stop and feel and trust. You're not behind, you're not failing, you're right on time. And everything you've been chasing is already yours. You just have to stop long enough to let it catch up to you.